Everything is temporary. Like, all you got to do, if you don't like the season you in, all you got to do is outlast the season that you in and watch your favorite season is right around the corner. The only thing that's constant is change. I hope y'all get that. The only constant we got in life is change. Don't make a permanent decision for a temporary problem. And every problem is temporary.
You are here. Welcome to the Purpose Finder podcast. This is the show where we uncover why you are truly here and, more importantly, how to make it your reality. My father, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, said the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without purpose. And research further shows that people with a strong sense of purpose are 2.4 times more likely to feel fulfilled. Each week, I sit down with extraordinary guests, entrepreneurs, artists, thought leaders who are boldly living their why. We dive deep into their journeys, the struggles they've overcome, their breakthroughs, and the lessons that can help you do the same. I am your beautiful host, Charisa Munroe Wilborn, and we're about to explore the mindsets, tools, and strategies to help you live a life with purpose, passion, and legacy. Are you ready? Let's go and dive into the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose Finder podcast, where our mission here is simple: to inspire you to find and uncover your purpose and to live life overflowing with three things: meaning, fulfillment, and significance. Yes, you heard right. Deep down, we all are craving belonging. No one wants to feel unfulfilled. And we are all searching, asking the big question: why in the world am I here? Well, I hope your search ends here at the Purpose Finder podcast. I'm your host, Charisa Munroe Wilborn, and today I have the incredible honor of sitting down with someone who doesn't only talk purpose, he doesn't only think purpose, he's a brother from another mother, like they say, Mayor Derrick Wood. He is the mayor of the town of Dumfries in Virginia. Derrick, welcome. Thank you so much for being here on the Purpose Finder podcast. Thank you so much for saying yes and all those good things. So welcome.
Listen, thank you for just the invitation. It's an honor anytime somebody calls you. I don't take those type of calls for granted. And you being my sister, and especially just watching the transformation. I was there. I remember the days of you working on your degrees and traveling on the road with your dad and just even the transformation over the last 10 years into a mom and wife, and just really accepting your call to become that change agent to help people find their purpose. I'm excited to be on this journey with you and to be a part of this. So thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. And today, Derrick, I just want you to share with those that are listening to the sound of our voices. Just, you're a mayor now, and you've been for a few years, but you weren't always a mayor. You had a journey.
Yes.
You had a beginning. Yes. You had, there was this roadmap that you took, that you drew along the way. And people would like to hear your journey, your stories, your good, the bad, the highs, the lows, the challenges, the adversities that you have gone through to get to mayor. Yeah. And when I think about purpose, I think of meaning and the reason why something exists. And I don't put purpose in a box. Yeah. Purpose can come in all shapes and sizes, textures and colors. And what I appreciate is I don't think people look at, especially the political arena, and think purpose or think something good, not all the time. And to know that you allowed yourself to come out of the four walls of the church, if you will. Yeah. And although you may not have wanted this, here you are changing the world from the policy making side.
Yeah.
And I know you first as being the barbecue guy.
Yes.
So I want to hear all of that. We want to hear all of that. So as we open, if you had to say, what is your number one priority right now as we start here in 2025? What is that?
I think human capital, right? politics and community is in people. And so if I can really, that's why I think these type of platforms is important, because the first thing people don't see what's there, they see what they've been programmed to see. And it's based on, if our pretext doesn't match as our context, then all of our life is a misconception. And so being able to really have somebody discover something through our conversation, through the mental intercourse that we have through these podcasts and through these dialogues, if I can just help them to see clearly, my gift and my number one thing right now is to give people the gift of clarity, right? In that pitch, in that position, my whole adult life, when I look at it, has been about service, right? I started out serving in a restaurant, then I served in the military in the United States Marine Corps, right? And then I got out and I served on town council and I served as mayor. And then you'll never believe it, but when I go home at night, I still got to serve my wife dinner.
Hello. Don't say it like it's a chore.
So it's all about,
Your service doesn't end.
my life of service doesn't end. So it's like, our life is not our own, right? And it's like, we wasn't created for ourselves, just like the mango tree doesn't produce mangoes just for the glory of the tree. So when you ask me, like, my number one goal is how do I help give somebody else the gift of clarity? I get up especially when I go talk to the kids in the schools, they say, what do you do as the mayor? I say, my number one goal is how can I make you better? How can I help you see that there's something more in you than what you're giving right now in these classrooms? I say, how many of y'all living your best life? And then like maybe 5 or 10 kids that may raise their hand. And by the end of the class, I get all of them raising their hand because I let them know that life is precious. You either spend time or money. And you can make more money, but you can't get no more time back. So why are you wasting your time not putting your best foot forward when you get in here? Now, identify what it is that you want to do, what comes natural to you and what's difficult to others. What is everybody coming to you for? Don't you understand that you're the solution to a problem in this world? And so you asked me that question. You lit a match on the inside of me because it's kind of like.
Can I get a question? Can I get a question in there, sir?
Can you get a question? Because that's what I get fired up about.
Yes. So if you had to tell us in just a few words,
okay,
what is purpose to you?
Yeah. Purpose is your reason for getting up in the morning. Purpose is why you were created. What type of fruit are you going to bear for this world? And so it's ultimately why, like, who are you? Like, why do you exist?
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that you say, who are you? One of the things that I learned from my dad, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, are those 5 questions of the human heart. And they're very clear, they're very distinct, but it's very difficult to separate them, to cut them up. They're so interconnected. And so purpose is the why you here, but identity is asking the question, who are you? But then when you ask what's your, what does purpose mean? You kind of get it all. Like there's this, it's who are you, but it's also why are you here, but it's also what can you do and where are you going? I mean, hey, don't get me started. Don't get us started, right? But no, I appreciate that. And I'm asking that question a lot of my guests because I don't want to make sure, but I do want to see that we all are, no matter what facet of life we are living our purpose in, no matter what texture or color our purpose may be, does it still mean the same thing across the board? And so far it has been across the board, the same thing to everyone, no matter how they're living it, no matter where they're living it, as boldly as they are, it's still that it's the reason why, it's why I'm here and what am I supposed to do? So Derrick, if you had to say in one sentence what your purpose in life is now that you know it, what is your purpose in life?
Yeah, honestly, I've adopted, being able to help people tap into who they are, right? So really to transform those people who don't know who they are, to help them identify who they are, and then to become a leader in their area of gifting, and then to become ultimately those change agents in the world. right? So how do I help people discover who they are? This community as mayor, I ran on a platform. It was called Rediscover Dumfries. Imagine that. Dumfries had already been here, but people really didn't understand the potential that was here. And so I told them, I said, I'm committed to helping people discover the Dumfries that was here. Only reason I'm successful is because I just went back to the purpose with why this community was created. Like politicians could be successful in their community is when they stand on purpose and they stand on vision. They get fully convicted. They get fully compassionate about it. I can tell the history better than a lot of people who've been in this community. And they grew up in this community all their own life. I can tell you this community was birthed May 11th, 1749, off of a plantation out of the birth town of Dumfries of Scotland, right? And so when I understand the purpose and I help everybody tie back down into their purpose and let them know once they find their purpose, they actually get energy. They actually get energized and they're not tired. Like they can do this. I can do this all day because I'm operating and really just sharing and helping to pull out what's already built on the inside. Because our destiny
Mm.
is not ahead of us. It's all trapped on the inside of us.
And then you took a town just now. You talked about, rediscovering Dumfries, but you did that by going back to the history and keeping in mind that one of the other questions, one of the 5 questions of the human heart is where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
And so you just now did a whole spill on how Dumfries even came to be and where it's from.
Yeah.
And then when you understand where it's from, it gives it even more meaning.
Yeah.
And it gives it even more value, which is why when you answer these questions of the human heart, as you're listening to Derrick and I talk, they're all intertwined. Every day we're asking, like, what really and truly can I do? What do I have to offer? Why am I here? Where am I from? And many times people want to look at where am I going before they even look at the where am I from. Or if you don't you want to even go that far back because where you are from is just the most darkest place on the planet, then consider where are you now and where are you going. And so even as I listen to you talk, Derrick, you're the mayor, but you weren't always here. You were able to tell me your purpose just now, but you weren't always here.
No.
So when did you know, and you may not know a specific day, a specific time, or maybe just a season, but at what point did you feel a calling on your life or a calling to your purpose?
It's interesting because, we're always becoming, like we're human beings, right? And so
Hello.
we're in a constant state of discovery.
Yes.
I joke now, and you'll hear in a lot of my speeches, I tell people God called me collect. I answered the phone and I accepted the charges in the position that I'm in now, and I'm waiting for him to hang up so I can figure out how.
What does he say, Derrick? How did that call go? Tell us how that call goes.
It was, I need you not to be so much focused on this barbecue, but I need you to get in this system and impact change. And even
No, but what does he say when he called? He called, ring, 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 ring. How does that go?
Listen, let me tell you. He says, it's funny because he don't call to tell you something nice. He creates a problem, right? And you're going to keep having problems and you're going to keep having issues, right? Until you pass that test, right? So you're going to go through some trials and some. It's almost like you got to take these final exams to really get to that place of discovery. And I couldn't figure out why I kept having these hurdles. Like I wanted to be here, but then there would be this speed bump. There would be this mountain. There would be this valley. And I would be like, okay, you got my attention, until I finally got in it. Even when I first got into this, I didn't even know how good I was in this or that this was my calling. Your dad said to me that, yeah, you're going to be the mayor of that place when I was just a council member. And I'm looking at him like, I don't even know if I want to, like, I honestly said, I don't even know if I want to be in politics, right? Type of situation. And he's excited that I'm a council member.
So let's talk about that. You said you don't even know if you want to be in politics. Did that come from a place of unknowing or a place of fear or both?
It came from a place where I saw politics from the national platform that it was on. So because it was something I avoided, I didn't watch it on TV. I didn't participate on it. I didn't grow up in an environment where I was always around government and those type of leaders. I came up where, the street hustlers, the entrepreneurs, those type of things. So politics wasn't my world. I didn't even speak the language or understand the language of politics. But as I began to get into leadership and I became a catalyst for understanding leadership and leadership development, I understood that I was good in this domain. Like I can operate in this because I understand those five things of the human heart. And so, as I got into it and I had a vision, God gave me the ability to see further than my eyes can see. I didn't even know 12 years ago when I said I was going to make this community a destination place. People laughed. People had never heard anybody talk like this before. And then somebody who became passionate and convicted about it. And then when I taught it, I say the purpose this community was built was because it was built on this. So why can't we be back in that place where we were somebody in this DC, Maryland, and Virginia area? And so I truly believe that. And as a result, because I had a plan and a vision, everything kind of lined up with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're listening to this young man because you're hearing someone who had no idea, did not like, was not following, and he said at some point, but I'm going to do it. How many times do so many of us, let's say we uncover our purpose? It's almost like you're digging for a treasure. You uncover it and it's too bright, or it's the wrong color, or it's not what you expected. And you cover it back up and say, no, I don't want that anymore. You finally find and uncover your purpose, but then you decide and choose to not live it out because it's too big, or you have no idea, you've never been in that world or that arena, so you decide to sit on it.
Mm-hmm.
But here is Derrick, who was like, I didn't like politics, I didn't follow it, I didn't watch it nationally, and someone told me I was going to be a mayor, and you said, what? No, I'm perfectly fine where I am. But here he is, however many years later, the mayor of Dumfries, putting the town of Dumfries on the map, and so passionate and so convicted about what he is doing. Like, that story to me, Derrick, is so apropos to what a lot of people are dealing with, are feeling, are going through, that is stopping them from truly living a life of meaning and significance.
Yeah.
Because we're scared. We are scared of the unknown. We're scared of what we do know. We are scared of not feeling worthy of it. I remember being in those situations as well. After my parents passed, you have this mighty man, and I'm like, man, there's never any way that I can not wear my dad's shoes, but that I can follow in the same footsteps and still be as great as him. And then I learned very, very shortly thereafter, I decided to change my thinking and said, no, I can very well be so much greater than my father,
Amen.
you know? And so there's something that they don't know, and I would like for you to talk about it. You're the mayor, and you've been the mayor of town of Dumfries for how long?
Since 2018, for 6 years.
Since 2018. However, you ran and you lost at some point.
Yeah.
So can you talk about what it was to run and lost, and then what made you decide, I'm going to do this again, not knowing if you were going to win or lose again?
So, I almost relate this story to Moses, right? Because Moses hated slavery. He hated to see his brothers and sisters get beat to the point where he killed a man and went out into the wilderness for 40 years. Where, from what I knew of politics, it just looked horrible to me. Until one day I got kicked off the side of the road from selling barbecue. Right. I got a cease and desist notice. And barbecue, to me, it was how I was feeding my family and my kids, because it was how I made my living. And so I went to my first ever council meeting. From that, I spoke in front of the council. People, I guess, heard me speak, because, I guess I can communicate pretty well with my words. And they said, you ought to run for council. And I was like, what is that? And so a group of people who weren't the most popular in the community at the time helped me on the ballot. I sat in on some debates. I shared my ideas for how I think the town could be transformed and the potential that this town had, and that we were sitting on a diamond in the rough. The people I ran with, they all lost, including me. Uh, After that, I was done. I wasn't going to run again. But one of the guys who did won, because there was a special election coming up at the end of the year, the November election, which was a presidential election. Obama was actually at the top of that ticket. And they said, and this is the power of a mentor mentee relationship, because he became a mentor to me. He said, hey, you had some ideas that we had never heard before, and we can use your ideas on the council and your energy. And so we just want to teach you the language of politics. We want to teach you how politics work. At the time, I didn't want to play on nobody's team. I didn't want to be. I'm independent. I'm stubborn. I just want to do my thing. But they said, the way the system is worked, you have to play on a team. I said, okay, I could be on the team, but as long as I could be an independent thinker. So I played on the team. So they took me in to really learn. So now I got a mentor, somebody who is already into a place where I need to be, who took me under their wing to show me how to organize and put things together. And as a result, I won a council seat. 2 weeks later, ironically,
So, so between the two campaigns, the two runs, the difference is you getting a mentor.
The difference is a mentor.
Uh,
The difference from losing to winning is mentorship.
Getting some help, some
Getting
support.
some help, getting a mentor, somebody who
Take notes, people. Take
has
notes.
already in a position that I wanted to be in. So somebody who sat me down and invited me and introduced me to the relationship. So now I understood how politics work collectively as a team. So I got a mentor who mentored me there, and from there, as I won, he let me know. And it's funny, you don't have to be the top dog to be able to push stuff in this. You just got to be the one with the biggest ideas, because a lot of people don't understand, but ideas are the most powerful thing in the world, right? You can't defeat an idea, because the more you attack it, the more it grows. And so the more my ideas got attacked, the more bigger they got, and the more they got amplified, and the more they grew. But it was funny, 2 weeks after I got elected, Charisa, your dad was in town. He was dedicating one of the churches here. The mayor at the time was in the room with some other council and elected official, and he's doing a whole lesson on politics. And in the middle of that lesson, he says, yeah, my son is going to be the mayor of this place. After you run again and win again, you're going to do one more term, and he's going to be mayor. At the time, it's 2 weeks in. I just got elected as a council, as a write-in candidate, by the way, because I wasn't going to run. They ran me as a write-in candidate. And then he's telling folks in front of the other mayor, who then becomes, I guess, my arch rival nemesis, right? Because he doesn't know who I am, right? I'm just this guy that got kicked off the side of the road selling barbecue. And then your dad said, yeah, my son's going to be the mayor of this place. And I'm looking at him like, who, me? In front of the stage, like, what do you mean I'm going to be the mayor? I don't even
Now be talking to me.
I don't even know if I want to be in politics yet. Like I'm still being mentored. I'm still learning, right? These things. And of course the next year he does a whole series on success in politics, which he told me he was gonna be doing some stuff. So it was just, amazing to get that mentorship, and then to learn that really politics is just another level of leadership. Like everything that we do when we discover our purpose, we're just becoming a leader of our gifts and our talents, right? And he knew what was in me, because he had watched me for the last 5 years in Kingdom. He chose me to come down there when he started the mentorship and told me to be in there. So he knew, based on my writings and being around me, what was in me. Oftentimes you need somebody else to see more in you than you see in yourself, right? And so it was that borrowed belief. Somebody else believed in me until I got enough to believe in myself and believe in what I have. And once I believed in myself and I began to get that confidence, all I did was communicate that vision each and every week. Hey, what do you want to do? Hey, my vision for the town of Dumfries is to make it a destination place that people from all over DC, Maryland, Virginia don't drive through, but they drive to. People say,
Hey. Say that
Yeah,
again. Wait a
yeah,
minute. First of all, let me slow you all the way down, Derek, because you saying a lot
yeah.
of gems. You're dropping a lot of I don't know what they call it now in the young people world, but we're just gonna go with
Bars.
gems, and I'm
They
writing
call
them
them
down.
bars.
Bars. There you go. There you go. And I want to go back to that, but we can come back to that very line in a minute. One of the first things you said was, you don't have to be a top dog.
No.
You just have to be the one with the biggest ideas. What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Like, that was loaded. And as soon as you said that, my mind went on the figurative idea of the lion,
Yeah.
who is the king of the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad talks about it all the time. He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest. He's not the biggest by no means. But his attitude is everything. And to hear you say, like, you don't have to be the top dog in the room. You just got to have the biggest ideas. And one thing about ideas, like, ideas are one thing about ideas, they will never die. And it could be a good idea. Mind you, it could be a good idea or it could be a bad idea. But it is ideas, not people. It is ideas that run the world. Dad talked about it all the time. And however, you have so many people who are running after top dog position, top dog status. Oh, that was so good. And then you said, politics is just another level of leadership. So I'm one of those people who, I don't like politics at all. Don't like politics. Don't like politics. Like I could never see myself in that arena. Let's put it that way. And to the point where if it's politics, anything, I go into another channel before I go to politics. But now that you put it that way, that makes so much sense as to why Dad was so gun-ho on talking to politicians and talking to governments and telling just the mayor person in the church to go and find a position in politics, because the more kingdom-minded people we have in politics, then you can have a better world. But we keep having people who are supposed to be there who looking for top dog label to be there, and then we sit down quiet and complaining.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna give you another bar. You can't change a system that you avoid. He told me I was yeast. Yeast can't impact the flour unless the flour overtake it. And then once heat and pressure comes, yeast is actually activated. And the flour never influences the yeast, but the yeast always influences the flour.
So what was the feeling though when you got your cease and desist letter, or when you got the because I look at that as rejection, or when you lost, like, and there may not have been a feeling, but did you have a small human-like feeling that went through you first before you said, but I'm not going to let that keep me down? Hey, purpose seekers. If this conversation has you thinking about your purpose, what it is, how to find it, and how to truly live it, then I have something just for you. Introducing the Purpose Finder Formula. And you have the free access to my 20-minute training designed to help you uncover your purpose and to start living it with confidence. No fluff, no guesswork. It's clear, practical, step-by-step guide to finding meaning and gaining clarity and direction. Your purpose is calling. Are you ready to answer? Head over to www.charisamunroe.com/purpose finder formula. Enter your info and I'll send it straight to your inbox. Imagine waking up every day knowing your life has meaning, impact, and joy. That's what awaits you. So don't wait. Grab your free training today. Now, let's get back to the episode.
One of the unique abilities I have in life is not to live so much in my memory, right? In my memory, and you know this as a therapist, right, is a lot of pain. Like, once thought is twice lived, right? Let me say that again. When you think about something, you live it again, and your thoughts hold so much weight. So I have the ability to live in my imagination and live out of my vision. And so when that happened to me, my focus is, okay, what's next, right? I don't sit in a loss or a defeat or a challenge because I don't want to get depressed. I don't want to get anxious or worried. It's always what am I going to move next? I remember uh, being in Bahamas on November the 11th, 2014, and ZNS is interviewing me in Freeport, and they say, "What are you guys doing here after this tragedy just happened?" Right? And in all the sadness and the emotion of what was going on, I told them right there on the thing. I said when Moses died, Joshua had a mandate to carry on. So I said if we don't continue to form and move forward, then everything he taught us was for naught. That means what he built here was bigger than him. And I said, that's why we're here. That's why we're in the Bahamas right now, the day after this tragedy.
So it wasn't that you didn't have the feeling of being depressed, or it wasn't that it wasn't a possibility.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't that the sadness wasn't a possibility. You just chose
Yeah.
to
figure out what's next, right?
to figure out what's next,
Yeah.
so that doesn't set in.
No, it doesn't. Yeah,
I like
vision.
it. I like it.
I live out of, I think God gave us vision and imagination, right? Our memories is based on what we know. And if all I know is defeat, then I'm going to do, it's almost going to be like the movie Groundhog Day. You live something over and over again. Like when somebody goes through a huge hurt, the more they think about the loss of that person, the more they get stuck in the memory of losing that person rather than the joy of what that person lived for. What was that person's life about? Right. And so for me, when I got kicked off the side of the road, at the time, I'm the guy that my wife and my kids all depend on. I don't have time. I'm a foundation of the family, right? And so if the foundation is cracked, then the whole family is condemned, right? So when do I have time for me? This was just my mindset because at that time now I'm studying all kinds of stuff to really, how do I set my mind? So I'm built different. I don't focus on what I'm going through. I focus on what I'm going to. Right? Think about Peter walking on the water. When you focus on what you're going through, wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. Wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you focus on the storm, then the storm will consume you. But if you focus your eyes on Jesus, you can walk on water. Like if you focus on where you want to go and the things that you want. So I never had the luxury because whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things of a good report. For me, and it's easier said for people than done. But for me, I don't, and I know it's frustrating for a lot of people around me because a lot of times I don't sit. God gave me that ability to just continue to look forward. Okay, so this is happening to me. So what? Now where am I going next? It's a speed bump. It's a storm. And the storm hit both the house built on the rock and the house that was built on sand, right? So the storm is going to come. All I got to do is outlast that season because nothing is permanent.
And I want to bring again to the forefront because you said where your attention goes, your energy flows. Yeah. And I think that's key for someone listening today, Derrick, only because a lot of times you be focused on the storm, and sometimes it's difficult not to.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the storm is the loudest thing in the room. It's the loudest thing in the world. So of course it's almost like you can't afford not to focus on it. Or they're focusing on the storm, and it's very difficult to sometimes focus on the storm and also see, but then what's next? But also focus on what is the vision that you're after. Yeah. What do you want to go? What do you want to go to? And I like that you encourage us to don't focus on the storm. Focus on where you're trying to get to. The storm there anyway ain't absolutely nothing that you can do about it. It's there. It's all around you, but it doesn't have to consume you. And I like that you didn't let it consume you.
It didn't cancel my purpose.
Back then when they gave you that cease and desist, it could have consumed you. 2014 could have over-consumed you. but you said no, like there is a next. What
Yeah.
next? And if that be the only question you ask yourself as you listen to
Yeah, what's
Derrick
that?
and myself, like what next? Okay, I'm in this season, but what next? This is happening to me, but what next? I don't like how I feel right now, but what next? And
Everything is temporary. Like all you got to do, if you don't like the season you win, all you got to do is outlast the season that you win and watch your favorite season is right around the corner. You know, you know,
outlast the season that you're
you
in.
got to outlast it. It's
Mm,
the only thing that's constant is change. I hope I get that. The only constant we got in life is change. Don't make a permanent decision for a temporary problem. And every
temporary
problem
problem.
is temporary because every problem has a solution. Every problem has a solution.
And I want to go back to your barbecue days. I think now, are you still doing
Yeah, I'm
barbecue?
not
Still
in the
making
business of burying
barbecue? Still
talent. I'm not in the bury talent business.
okay. So back when you did the whole barbecue making, it was because well, the problem at the time was you had a family to provide for.
Absolutely.
You was the provider. You had a wife and child who was depending on you, and so then an idea came forth, and then it came into fruition.
Yeah, I mean, I was naturally cooking for people at my house all the time. They would come in and people be like, I was the guy after church. Hey, what y'all doing? What y'all doing? Hey, won't y'all come over? Hey, da, da, da. And I was on the grill all day. And so the barbecue business became an extension of my backyard, right?
But you did it so excellently because I remember that's what I know you as first before Maya anything. I know you as Derrick the barbecue guy to the point where I didn't even know you was Derrick. Derrick who? All I know
The
is,
barbecue.
Daddy, who is that man that made the barbecue
Yeah.
ribs or the barbecue sauce? Like that's what we know you as, the barbecue guy, the barbecue guy.
I even
And
came down and gave your brother a bunch of rub to put in his restaurant when he had his restaurant on the other side. I was like, take this
but you
seasoning.
did it so well.
Yeah.
You did it so well. You did it with passion. Like your purpose had grown beyond just taking care of your family.
Yes.
Now you were taking care of others. I know whenever dad came in town, he had to have his ribs. And then when we couldn't come in town, we trying to figure out how did we get this rub? How do we get the sauce to us?
Mhm.
And we calling you ahead of time. I think in the last 5 years, I've called you
Yes.
and I
Send
said,
you some,
Derrick,
send you a
can I
little
get,
rub.
please send me some rub? And sure enough, even as the mayor, I can still call you and tap into your first gifting, if you
Yeah.
will,
Yeah.
because people remember excellence. They remember passion. They remember purpose.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm putting words to it. We don't think in that sense, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly what it is. And to this day, yes, you're the mayor, but I will always remember your passion and purpose, your passion and conviction for hospitality and the way you served us, the way you served the church, the way you served just what it is that you love to do, your gift. And one of the things you said was the purpose is just you becoming a leader in your
Yeah.
gift. And you weren't a mayor first. The potential was very much there, but that wasn't your gift. I think mayoring really just comes from your overall gift of hospitality and service. And and you actually putting that to work, putting that to practice. I've been able to now watch you grow from not just a barbecue guy to the mayor of the town of Dumfries. And I think it's a beautiful thing, and to know and to be reminded that, but I lost the first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I didn't win the first
I
time,
tell people.
and you decided to not give up. You decided to, okay, I got to do this again. What's next? And let's talk about the difference between when you lost and when you won.
Ooh.
Because people believe that now, in finding and discovering my purpose, they believe that they are alone or they have to do it alone. And you don't have to. You can try, but you don't have to. And so you chose to get a mentor. For many people, that's going to be a coach.
Mm-hmm.
For many people, that may be a counselor. It may be a friend, if you will, but you always want to find someone who is kind of already where you
Yeah.
are, times
I
10.
call that the fast pass.
And
That's the fast pass.
tap, an authentic fast
Yeah.
pass. We're not just talking fast pass where it's a
No,
shortcut.
no, 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 no,
We're not
no.
talking shortcut.
Yeah.
So tell us a little more about that process, Derek. What it was for you to even go and find one. Why did you go and look for a mentor? What did the mentor do differently for you that wasn't there the first time?
So, first I hear, barbecue for me is the gift that keeps on giving, right? The wisest man that ever lived told us your gift is the thing that makes room for you and it opens up the doors. Even now, the way I introduce myself to people is I tell them I'm the barbecue man, right? Because still politics is only 4 years at a time. There may be a time where the people say we don't want to reelect you, right? And so barbecue is who I am. When the news called me, they call the barbecue man to come cook, and I come talk politics at the same time, right? I have that unique ability. Barbecue opens all of those doors, and it was funny because people told me when I first got in politics, they say you can't be both barbecue man and the council member, and I just in my mind I just couldn't wrap that around because I never saw myself as a council member. I was just the I was just the barbecue man. Like, so what do you mean? I'm just a barbecue guy who just so happened to be a council. I'm the barbecue man who so happens to be the mayor of a town who has almost $1 billion worth of development in a 1.6 mile radius. And by the way, I sit in rooms with some of the biggest mayors and some of the biggest elected officials around here. I have a seat at the table where I'm able to influence. And so to go from losing to getting a mentor, who took me and first, taught me the language, right? Because every industry you get in has its own language, right? And so if you haven't been in that industry, you need to learn the language, you need to learn the people, you need to learn the location, you need to know where to go. And your ability to learn, like it's at the speed of learning for you, right? Paul told his mentee Timothy, he said, look, you got to study to show yourself approved. So it wasn't enough for the mentee to show me. Once I got in, I became very astute of reading my material and study and learn that language so that I can rightly divide this political language, this political landscape, right? So I got in, I studied, I showed myself approved. And once I got in, I was able to execute, right? Because it's one thing to become a barbecue maker, but now I'm a policy maker. So now how do I go from barbecue making to policy making? How do I go from getting kicked out of the parking lot to now parking in the mayor's parking spot? Right. So
Come on.
it's all about how you just continue to become, right? A apple seed doesn't grow into a whole apple orchard just naturally, because if you put that apple seed in the wrong environment, the apple seed won't grow. If you throw it in the trash, it don't cancel its purpose. It just means it wasn't in the right location. You got to put it in a place that's fertile that allow it to produce apples, produce more seeds, and to grow into that whole apple orchard. So just you get it in the right environment, studying, learning the language, you begin to flourish. And the issue that I find in this industry is a lot of comparison, right? And comparison is the thief of your potential, right? Because the mango tree now starts looking at the apple tree and say, why are they red and I'm orange, right? Because you wasn't
Mm-mm.
created to be red. Stop focusing on what the apple tree is doing and be a mango tree. Produce what you're supposed to produce. And in finding your purpose, that means you got to be the best at producing what it is you're supposed to produce. If I'm a barbecue man, then I better produce the best barbecue, and I got to let people know that I produce the best barbecue. Well, if I'm a policy maker, then I need to be creating the best policies that's going to benefit the town and give it the area of this vision. And so, it going from a loss to getting a mentor to getting in there was all in my level of growth and developing, because nothing changes until you change your mindset. We don't see what's
Mm-hmm.
there. We see what we've been programmed to see. And so until we change the way we see a thing, the thing we looking at it never changed. I had to change how I saw politics. And politics wasn't a bad thing. I had to even learn the etymology and the origin of how politics started. Even understanding the school of thought behind, this is getting a little bit deep, but how Aristotle's and Plato's look at this democracy standpoint and understood it's only good as the people that is in it. So politics is either
Mm-hmm.
your friend or foe based on your level of involvement or the people who you got sitting at the table.
Or based on your perspective,
based on your
absolutely.
perspective. And if you're not in the room where it happens, then you don't got no say. What Hamilton say, you got to be in the room where it happens, where learn how the sausage is being made. And everything that governs your life is around politics. And it took me even a couple more years after Pops died to really understand why he got excited about me having a seat at the table.
I think Dad got excited about any one of his students or
Yeah.
mentees. Let me use that word. Who would go into politics? You're not that I can think of a
Well,
few
he called
other.
me son before I called him dad. And I even learned even there, oh, he adopted me.
He adopted so many, and he got excited about any one of his sons and students that went into politics because he knew that, like, that's where the change was truly going to happen at a national
Yeah.
level. And anyone that was willing to take the risk, because politics can be very risky, very risky. And it's not for the faint
Gotta
at
have thick.
heart, but it's definitely for those that are willing to take the risk. And he got excited because he knew that the more of his sons and daughters who got into that facet of life, then he knew that his ideas and his teachings would go into that area of life. Now, he was also a smart enough man to know that that ain't the arena for me. However, he knew that he knew that if he could raise the children who were wise enough and then send them out, it'll be just as good as him being
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
And there's so many of you that I'm so proud of. Like, I watched so many of his students go, or his mentees, his sons go from just being what I'm going to call just a regular civilian to the political world, and really and truly, like, risking their, not their lives from a life and death perspective, but just risking their, because now you become this big old public figure. Your whole life becomes an open book, and so therefore your other family members, wives and children, become susceptible to who knows what in politics. But I think it's just amazing to see. He really got excited, and he got excited because he knew if he can get some droplets of the kingdom into the political world, then the world could truly be a better place. And I hope that it doesn't stop because he's no longer here.
Oh no.
I hope that there are so many more of us that hear his teachings and get revelation from God above, and then decide to take the same risk.
So it's funny you say that. My mandate, the next chapter, right? Because like that, I'm planning 20, 30 years down the line. I created a whole new website called electedandengaged.com. And I have a podcast called Elected and Engaged, where I understand local politics doesn't get the exposure on news, and they don't get the national coverage that the federal government, right? Because there's different levels of government. You got federal government, state government, and local government. Well, local government is the one that impacts the people the most. We're the ones who determine where the resources going for your school, where the potholes, your police department, what economic development, what businesses come to the community. All that's done on the local government. But local government doesn't get the platform and the exposure. So I created a podcast where I get to interview local elected officials, your mayors, your city councilor, your school board men, your county commissioners, where now they get to tell their stories and they get a scene. But part two of it is now I'm creating a platform where I'm exposing the masses to what it means to be elected and how they can get engaged in local government, right? So third part is now I create an institution, a consultant. Now I start training the next generation of people who's going to be elected in local government, or at least people that's going to be engaged on boards, commissions, to be able to make that change. Because I don't want people to complain about stuff in their community if they're not willing to become the solution. Because I believe that we're all the solution to a problem in this world. The fact that we were created, meaning there's a problem in this world that we're solving. Just like the hand can't do nothing for the hand, our gifts aren't for ourselves. Our gifts are for the rest of the body. And so when the hand operates with the rest of the body, it can help itself get washed. It can help itself get dressed. It can help itself get clothed. And so elected and engaged .com is all about how I help people get elected in local government, hear the stories of local elected officials, and how we can teach other people to be engaged and why local government is important. And you got to understand, we are the ones creating laws. Laws dictate culture, right? The word law comes from the word normus, which in our English language we get the word normal. Whatever normal in society normally becomes law. And if you want somebody with your values and your principles, then you need to help them either get elected or you need to be the one to get elected so that they create policies that you want to impact your family.
Oh man, I need to have another 2, 3 more episodes. That's one thing about politics. It's just so, and the more you talk about it, the more, even in my mind, I'm getting more engaged. Whereas before, I'm like, politics is just one of those things. I'm like, ugh. But I can see how interesting. I can see how how important it is for us to be a lot more engaged, as we use your word, into policy making, but also who is it that's making the policies.
And being in the
We get it.
room. A lot of times there's decisions being made. Like we're making decisions today that you're not going to see for the next 10 years, 10, 20 years.
Mm.
We're creating right now a community plan for what we want the community to look like in the next 20 years. Like stuff just don't happen. And so now we're creating stuff that's going to impact your children, right? And so you're like, who's making decisions for what's going to happen for my children in the next 10,
We
15,
used to
20
just
years?
get in the room. Just get in the room. Ain't that something? Just get in the room. And not as a fly on the wall, but just get in the
And
room.
get engaged
And
because of your ideas.
as I say, just get in the room, as Derrick say, just get in the room. First of all, believe that you belong in the room. If you don't walk away with nothing else today after this episode, believe that you belong in the room. Nothing changes until your mind
Uh-huh.
changes. So don't continue believing that, but I don't belong in them kind of rooms. I don't know what to say. I wouldn't know. Then you know what? Become teachable. And one thing Derrick said without saying, he talked about he learned, I learned. He became completely teachable. He didn't believe that he knew everything. He may have thought he did the first time, but the second time he said, okay, I can't run the same way I ran the last time. Let me get some knowledge and information under my belt so that I know exactly how this thing goes and become completely teachable. And now here's this young man who, because he became teachable, now he's in a position years later where he gets to teach others. You do it through your podcast, your institute, and we see the growth. And I love it. And I love that you can talk about this journey, Derrick, because there are so many men, especially men, but men and women who are missing these certain aspects of what it would take for them to get to the next level. Sometimes they don't need a whole nothing. It's just one thing they need to tweak.
Yeah.
And as soon as they do, the opportunity door that they've been waiting to get unlocked becomes open. And they're like, man, that's all I had to do all this time? Absolutely. You had to find Purpose Find the
Yeah, it
podcast
is.
and listen to this very episode with Charissa and Derrick to learn that you belong in the
Is it?
room. Get in the room. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Derrick, before we leave, as we close, what is the best advice you can give to someone listening right now?
My best advice is you need to identify like those 5 questions that you talk about, right?
Mm.
Identify what it is that you are naturally good at. Like, what is your gift? Like, if somebody came to you, like, what are you known for? Like, you heard on this podcast over and over, I'm known for barbecue. Like, that's my identity. You think of Michael Jordan, he's known for basketball. As a result of him being known and good at one thing, he ventured off into all kinds of other business ventures. As a result of me being good and excellent in barbecue, I was able to get in politics. What comes natural to you? Barbecue was a thing that was a natural progression because I did it every weekend, every single day. I just wanted to light the grill up and feed people. It gave me energy. It gave me excitement, right? A fish swims very good, right? Swim is built in the fish. There's something that's built on the inside of you. I learned that the fish don't got to go to swim school. It don't need lifeguards to watch it. It don't have to learn how to hold its breath, how to tread water. It's naturally built in. This hospitality, this ability to learn and then to teach what I learned, it's naturally innate in me. There's something that you do well. It's something that people come to you for over and over. That's a gift. It's easy to you, but it's difficult to others, and you're able to solve those problems. That's where your purpose lies. And once you find out that your destiny, that thing that's trapped on the inside of you that you've been given birth with, once you find your purpose, I want you to continue to cultivate your purpose. I want you to continue to release your purpose, right? Because it's not what you know that makes you who you are. It's what you do with what you know. And so activity breeds results. So you got to be, do, and then you'll have, right? Figure out who it is you're supposed to be, do what that person does, and you'll have all the fruit. A mango seed knows that other mangoes produce mango, sweet fruits. And so they have to be, do, and then they can have as many mangoes and orchards as they want. So my advice is to you, be, do, have. Those are three simple words: be, do, have. Who is it that you were created to be as a human being? Yeah, I'm a barbecue man, so what do? I barbecue. And as a result, I have a whole bunch of people that eat my food, right? And they just really enjoy it, right? So if I can give you some advice, become
Very good.
the best version of yourself. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and comparing yourself. Don't worry about your last success because that's the enemy of your potential. Your potential is everything you can do that you haven't done yet. It's all the things you can have, but you don't yet have. It's who you're supposed to be, but you are yet to become. That's why we call it potential. And it's all tied to you finding your purpose. And there's no mistake that you found the Purpose Finder podcast because today you should begin to find your purpose.
Derrick, thank you. Thank you for encouraging us to find out, discover what comes natural to you.
Yeah.
What comes natural to you will lead you to exactly why you are here and what you are to do. And if nothing else, for the last however long we've been talking to Derrick, one thing we know, he may be the mayor of the town of Dumfries in Virginia, but he is also the who? The barbecue man.
My barbecue.
So as we close, because you've been talking all day about the very thing that I love, and that's food. Oh, food is everything to me. I don't know why. Um, so what is your, well, I want to ask you what's your favorite food. I kind of have an idea, but we would love to know what's your favorite food and what's your favorite restaurant. And after you answer that question, can you also then just let us know how can anyone who is listening to this podcast tap into some barbecue sauce, a barbecue rub? Guys, it is amazing. You hear me? Amazing.
So, of course, I love barbecue. It's something about the fire and the smoke and being out there. Don't come to me about that propane because y'all might as well stay in the house and cook. But it's something about being out on that open fire with that wood and that smoke coming up on your meat and the way it kind of just transforms because it does something to the taste, especially if you use some of Big D's barbecue rub and barbecue sauce. You can actually go to DerrickRwood.com. It'll take you to my various websites when you come to my personal website, DerrickRwood.com. I'm on Instagram at my BBQ man as well as Mayor Dr. Wood. See that? I made the barbecue man personal, my BBQ man. One of my favorite restaurants is probably Ocean Prime. It's under the they have such great hospitality. I like it because of the hospitality and the way they treat you when they come in there and that kind of like that experience in there. And so I love Ocean Prime and the experience, but now I'm a little biased because we just recently opened up a huge steakhouse here in the town of Dumfries called
No way.
called 1609. We opened up a gaming resort. It was a $500 million project. I'd say a half a billion on a construction landfill that we did. That it actually created over 500 jobs in this community and 35 million in annual revenue for the state of
Good
Virginia.
stuff.
And I mean,
Wow.
I didn't even tell you about all the good things that in 6 years as mayor that we've able to come. We've done more in the last 6 years than they've done
We will have you
in the
back.
last
We will
couple
have
hundred
you back for
years
sure.
in the community. So I'm just excited to be able to use my gifts. I often joke and say I'm waiting for God to hang up because I'm like, okay, politics. A lot of people think that I make all of this money as a politician, which is why you see, that's a whole nother subject. Things happening to
We will have you
local
back. We're gonna
politicians.
definitely have you back for sure.
Let me lay that top
So
of
your
your love.
favorite food is barbecue. Favorite restaurant. Well, now I don't want to talk about the other restaurant. We just want to talk about favorite restaurant being 1609
1609 in
in
Dumfries.
Dumfries. Oh, I'm gonna have to come and check it
Yeah,
out. If you're in the area, make sure you check out
lobster
1609.
macaroni and cheese
Uh,
is good. The scallops imperial over the asparagus with a nice
uh.
little cream,
Oh,
fresh
really?
flash calamari.
Mm.
If you into steak, they got this 40-ounce steak that's 2.5 pounds tomahawk steak that they come around table side and kind of cut up. They got some.
True barbecue man at True barbecue man right here. Oh,
You don't
Derrick,
get
I love
describing
it.
the
Thank you
food.
so much.
Oh, they got the fresh.
Wait, no. We gotta stop. We got
You see, I describe the food. You know what I'm saying? I tell you,
I see it. Oh my goodness. Can I come and visit Dumfries now?
absolutely. Come
Let's
on,
let's get
jump
it.
on a plane.
Well, thank you so much, my brother. Derrick, for joining us here on the podcast. I'm sure lives were inspired, change, and people, if nothing else, they walk away with knowing maybe the one thing I've been missing is that of a mentor and a teacher. But thank you for sharing your journey, your story, your lessons with us. It's been amazing getting to know more about you and what you're doing there in Dumfries, and then what you're just doing for just people. And now we get to all visit the website or even Dumfries and kind of get a taste of what it is that you are, a taste of this gift that you have. And so we are grateful. You guys have heard Derrick share his life story. I hope that if only a fraction of it, you can see yourself in his story, but also see the possibilities and the abundant opportunities that are waiting for you when you say, what is next? I'm your girl, your host, Charisa Munroe Wilborn, and welcome to the Purpose Finder podcast. Till next time, see you soon. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Finder podcast. I hope today's conversation lit a fire within you, because purpose isn't just something you chase. It is something you live every single day. If this episode resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more people on their journey to purpose. Let's continue the journey together. Join the Purpose Finder community on Facebook for exclusive insights, tools, and a tribe of purpose-driven people just like you. And remember, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Your purpose isn't far off. It's already within you. It's time for you to uncover it and live it boldly. Until next time, stay inspired, stay intentional, and keep walking in your purpose.